thank you all for coming today for the Brotherhood presentation this afternoon. We're very honored and privileged to have Rabbi Dr. Charles Agin with us today. Rabbi Agin has been here a very long time. He's done many presentations. He's also been our rabbi on the Bima for us occasionally, different opportunities. Always a great service. Rabbi Agin is doing the service. You're Rabbi Emeritus of the Free Synagogue in Flushing, New York, right? And you're also you're the dean, the academic dean of the Academy of Lifetime Learning, right? That's also in New York, somewhere near. And he's also a lifetime member of Temple Sinai. And today we're going to be talking about, everybody know what we're talking about today? Superstitions. All right, there we go. All right, Rabbi Agin, take it away, please. Thank you.
Thank you. There you are. Oh, that's better. Everybody can hear me clearly? Good, good. Now, you might call today's program not really a lecture. Today's program is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which we're going to be doing on a number of occasions during the season. You might call the 3 o'clock senior schmooze. We're going to be schmoozing. I'm going to do a little talking. You're going to do a little talking. We're going to go up and back because especially today's subject, superstitions and other matters that relate to it, require your reaction and your input. So calling it more of a schmooze rather than just a lecture, I think, is a good idea. Besides, it means I don't have to talk so much. Okay. Now, superstitions, we'll start with that, but we have a couple of other things we're going to bring in as we go along. Are they silly? Do they have sense? Are they serious? Or what? Superstitions aren't just as old as civilization. They're much older. And most do not hide their existence and practice from society. As I hope to reveal in today's schmooze, in today's discussion, what makes superstitions endure is their rituals and what they supposedly can do. They aren't for everyone. And that quality of individuality is what drives much of their appeal. How many times have you heard the expression, I don't really believe in it, but better safe than sorrow, better safe than sadness. So I might as well, do it. And by the way, I hope as we're going along, you're thinking of some of the superstitions that you participate in, because I want you to tell me about them, because we're going to try to analyze some of them. Please God. Now, all superstitions have a purpose, which may be practical, philosophical, or political. Are you superstitious? Do you cringe in awe whenever Friday the 13th comes about? Are you careful never to walk under a ladder? Oh no. And do you emphatically avoid opening an umbrella indoors? Have I got the right bunch here? You bet. Superstitions, whether or not you believe in them unequivocally, historical data confirms that they have been in existence for centuries. Many inherited from distant ancestors, their logic often lost in the passing of time, but we still do them. I think over here we got a whole bunch of it. But whichever way they are regarded, fascinating, intriguing, mind-boggling, superstitions have formed part of our lives for centuries. And the question is this: what makes people believe in improbable things like superstitions, when all evidence points to the contrary? We'll try to answer that as we go along. But first, I want to share with you just a couple of sentences of background, if you will, about us, about the Jewish people and our Mishigas. No translation necessary, I will take it. By the way, is it all right if I use the stool and sit? You don't mind? I can stand if you wish. Whatever's comfortable for you. I'm going to do what I want anyway. So a bit of background. Buried in the past of the Jewish people was a time when the impossible was everywhere. It was a time when Jews believed in forces that were devilish or angelic, when Jews believed in the power of incantations and formulas to appease evil spirits and supplicate the angels. But there is some remnants of that angelology in Judaism today. We have it on Friday night at Shabbos, when we sing, Malachei Ashores. We welcome the ministering angels, the wonderful angels. It was a time when every sign and gesture, an itch, a shadow, a dream, a sneeze, Gesundheit. You know what happened when you sneezed, by the way? What you're supposed to do? No. What's that? Your heart stops. Yeah, that's one belief, yeah. What do you know? What you do about it? You sneeze, you got to pull your ear up. You chew you pull your ear up so you don't lose the spirit that comes out of your nostrils while you're sneezing. Got a whole bunch that do that over there. I can see that. A dream, a sneeze, all of this was a sign of things to come, a hint of the forces that controlled people's lives. Yes, for centuries, magic and superstition had a home in Judaism. Jews believed it. Jews practiced it. Do you? You don't have to admit it right now. In fact, even to this very day, there are Jews who believe that passages in the Bible have an impact upon life. Now, here are some examples. Are they real or imaginary projections of superstitious belief? We're going back to the biblical period. People were reading the Bible. Get my Bible. Now I'm going to give you a few examples of people who utilize the Bible to influence lives. For example, it was believed by Jews and some, I dare say to this very day, to strengthen your memory. You open up the Bible to the book of Proverbs, and you read in the book of Proverbs, Proverbs 16, chapter 16, verse 1. And you open up to that verse, and you start reading it over and over and over and over again. Remember, you're trying to improve your memory over and over and over again. Finally, you'll have that verse memorized. Proof that you've improved your memory. You may have forgotten where you are, that's got nothing to do with it. You keep on reading it over and over again. It works. How about if you want to improve your business? It was believed by many. You open the Bible. You want to improve your business, you turn to Psalm 114. You know, which reminds me of the story of these two fellows in business. They meet on the street, Joe and Sam. And they meet, they greet each other, and Joe says to Sam, Sam, by the way, I'm sorry to hear about it, that you had a fire in your factory. Shh, says Sam, not till tomorrow. In any event, if you want to improve your business, you go right to the Bible. You go to Psalm 114 with a match in your hand. You go to Psalm 114 and you read Psalm 114 over and over and over again. I don't know. Is it going to improve your business? That I cannot guarantee. But Psalm 114, you'll know pretty well. That'll be an improvement. Well, how about, and here's the last one, the last example. By the way, all of these are written down and practiced by people to this very day. What happens if there are two people, you know, and every family has it, two people who are not getting along with each other. They've got a grudge, which has been going on for years. They won't talk to each other. They don't like each other. There's a grudge that's been going on forever. And you want to make peace between these people. What do? Pick up your Bible immediately. You invite them into a room, the two of them. They don't look at each other. They don't talk to each other. They don't like each other. They have a grudge going on. You open the Bible immediately because it says in the Bible, you open up the Bible immediately to Psalm 98. And while these two people are there, one over there and one over there, not talking to each other, you tell them, start reading Psalm 98. And they read Psalm 98 over and over and over. And keep on reading it again and again and again. And finally, they forget what they were arguing about for years ago. And the argument is over. All of a sudden, they like each other. And they don't know Psalm 98 very well. Whatever it was they were arguing about, fallen. Anybody knows what that means? Gone. Gone. It works. So there was a belief, and it still exists among some Jews today, that there are verses in the Bible that can have an impact upon your life. Is it belief? Is it superstition? By the way, just between us, if you want to become a better lover, there's a statement in here. I'm not telling you which one. I don't want to start all kinds of problems going on with this crowd. But there's a statement in the Bible. If you want to be a better lover, you open up to that one. Actually, which one is it? I mean, because I could use a little work in that regard myself. I could use a little work. I got to open up that one, whichever one it works. You never know. Okay. So one aspect of belief, which we might call superstitious belief, if you will, is that certain verses in the Bible can have an impact upon one's life. And this goes back countless centuries belief in the Bible. Now, I want to also digress for another moment. As we're talking about things that people believe in, put this down. And some of the mysteries, if you will, that have to do with certain beliefs. I want to spend just a few minutes talking about something that we utilize all the time. It's a very important part of our lives. And yet, the original belief in them may have been somewhat superstitious, if you will. And that is, although it's an important part of our lives today, we can't do without it. And that is, I want to talk to you for a moment or two about the mezuzah. The mezuzah that we put on the doorpost of the house. Now, everybody knows mezuzah, by the way, means doorpost, and it comes from the statement that we have. We say it every single day. Every time we say our prayers, we have, of course, the Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And then following that, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. After et Adonai Elohecha. And these words, it says in that paragraph, you shall put upon the doorposts of your house. The word mezuzah means doorpost. You shall put it on the doorposts of your house to remember these words. For these are the words that will protect you, that will show you that you believe in the Lord our God, and you will follow the mitzvot. And so those words, the Shema Yisrael and V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, and another paragraph which follows it from the book of Deuteronomy, Devarim, are all written on this little piece of parchment. 22 lines. Exactly, never more, never less. 22 lines on a little piece of parchment. And then it is rolled up. The words that I just mentioned, the 22 lines, are on the inside. You roll it up on the inside. You place it in that little container, and you put it on the doorpost of your house. That God will watch over you. That you will observe the commandments. That you will remember forever. Every time you walk in the door, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Now, and so it exists. In fact, by the way, at one time, it was considered to have magical powers. And we know that in the medieval period, that there were many non-Jews who had to put together a mezuzah, got a mezuzah, and put it on the doorpost of their house. Now, what's interesting about the mezuzah is that it has some mystery connected with it. And here's the mystery. I'm going to go over to the black. On parchment itself, we have those 22 lines. Hebrew and to the Ahata and some of the paragraphs that follow. And that's on the inside. Now, what about the outside of that piece of parchment? On the outside of that piece of parchment, you're permitted to have 4 words. One of those words is God's name, Shaddai. And there it is in Hebrew on the black side of the mezuzah, of the parchment. And also on the back side of the little parchment, on the back side, you have 3 words. You have three words. In Hebrew. Oh, okay, I should have taken it. Sorry. So on the backside, you have three words. Unintelligible. On every mezuzah. One side, the 22 lines, which we know, and on the backside, you have these words. Kozo bemokes kozo. Doesn't mean anything. It's not a word that could be translated, but these three words are on every parchment in the mezuzah on the blank side. Kozo bemokes kozo. And then, of course, down below, we have God's name, Shaddai. That's also there on the back. Now, what's also interesting is that these three words, kozo bemokes kozo, written on the blank side of the mezuzah, are also written exactly on the opposite side where the words Adonai Eloheinu Adonai appear. That's in the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Adonai Eloheinu Adonai. Those three words appear on one side, and on the opposite side, this kozo bemokes kozo. What does it mean? It's a puzzle. It has no translation. And then we found out what it really means. Every language has an alphabet. You know the English alphabet, I'm sure. The Hebrew alphabet, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet. Boy, oh boy, you're really solid. Ches, Tes. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Kaf, Chaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samach, Ayin, Pei, Feit, Tzadik, Kuf, Rei, Shin, Sin, Taf, Saf. Not bad. That's the Hebrew alphabet. And what was discovered is this, that these three words on the mezuzah, on the blank side, that the previous letter in the Hebrew alphabet delivers the answer to these three words. Show you what I mean. We have kozo. Now, in the Hebrew alphabet, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Yet, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud comes before the Chaf. The Yud comes before the Chaf in the alphabet. So we put down a Yud. Big Yud. Then there's the Vav. Again, we go back to the alphabet. The letter before the Vav on the Hebrew alphabet is a Hey. Then we have the Zayin. And the previous letter in the Hebrew alphabet before the Zayin is a Vav. It's the Yud, the Hey, Vav, and the last one is another Hey. Kozo. It's really Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. And what is Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey? YH in English, VH. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. In English, we say YH, VH. Yod He Vav He, is God's name, which we always pronounce as Adonai, although in the original Hebrew, that's not Adonai. The question is, how do you pronounce it? We'll get to it in a minute. We never say God's name. Yod He Vav He. It's called a tetragrammaton. We always say Adonai whenever we see it. And the middle word, v'mokso, kozo, this is Eloheinu. Once we fill it in, the letter before the bet is an aleph and so on. The letter before the mem is a lamed. You start to get the idea. This word is Eloheinu. And this word kozo is like the first one, Yod He Vav He Adonai. So these three words written in code on the back of the mezuzah really are Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai. Why were they put there? Nobody knows. But on every mezuzah, on the back side, you will have on one side, you'll have the words Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And then, of course, the 22 lines. But on the blank side, right opposite, you have Kozo B'moks Kozo. Why it was put up there, nobody knows, but really means Adonai Eloheinu Adonai. Now, that's one of the mysteries that exist in Jewish life. No one has been able to determine why those three letters, those three words were put there. What's also interesting is that God's name, the Yod He Vav He, which we all pronounce as Adonai, we don't really know how to pronounce God's name. If you use English letters, you get YHVH, and some groups, particularly some Christian sects, say it's Jehovah, Jehovah, and so on. But we, the Jewish people, have said, we don't know how to pronounce God's name. There's also another mystery which is connected with this, and that is that Rabbi Judah Lowy in Prague in the 16th century created a kind of a monster out of mud and clay and so on, the golem. You've all heard about that. It was created by Rabbi Judah Lowy, and they say he brought it to life because Judah Lowy, Rabbi Judah Lowy, knew how to pronounce God's name, Yod He Vav He. He knew the real pronunciation. We all call it Adonai, which is a name we've given because we don't know how to pronounce Yod He Vav He. But Judah Lowy, according to this mystery and the story, knew how to pronounce it. And he whispered it into the ear of the golem. And the golem came to life to protect the Jewish people. Superstition, belief, mystery, it still exists in Jewish life. And on every mezuzah that you have on the doorpost, on one side, 22 lines, the Shema and the V'ahavta on one side. On the opposite side, God's name, Shaddai, and Kozo, B'moks Kozo, which we know is Adonai Eloheinu Adonai. Did I make that clear, how they figured it out? Okay. That's a little sidelight about the mezuzah. And it became a very important, I don't want to use the word amulet, but it became a very important part of Jewish life because of the belief that if you follow the commandments, if you believe in Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, put it on the doorpost of your house, that household will be protected. It's a way of you saying publicly, we observe the commandments of God. Now, let's move to some of the superstitions that we have in Jewish life. In the Jewish religious superstition era, they developed many of the procedures that people go through. Of course, they were referred to in Eastern Europe as Baba mices. But they, even though they were Baba mices, stories told by one's grandmother, they were still being fulfilled. The belief that now here is one, for example, which was very common in Eastern Europe and found its way, of course, to this world, to the United States, and that is, do you sew a button on someone's garment while the person is wearing the garment? Do you know that one? Anybody here know that one? You know that one? If you have to say you want to sew a button on somebody's shirt that came off, are you permitted to do it while the person is wearing the shirt? No. Why not? You sew up their brains. That's not bad. Why not? Well, there are many reasons. One of the reasons that superstition developed, I remember when I was a kid, if I had a button that had to be sewed, and my mother was going to, she said, take off your shirt. Why? Because that's the system that's used when they make the shroud for someone who is deceased. They sew it right on the deceased. And so, to make sure that we do not emulate that kind of situation, if you're sewing something on somebody who is, thank God, still alive, you have to take off that garment and then sew. But don't sew while someone is wearing it. Now, that's already is a superstitious custom, which was well known among, particularly among Eastern European Jews. How about something like knock on wood? How many of you still participate in knock on wood? You knock on wood. Why? Why do we knock on wood? Yes. No answer. You don't want to attract the evil eye. Well, the evil eye has nothing to do with knocking on wood. That's a different one. The evil eye we'll get to in a minute. We all have the evil eye. What is that? Why do we knock on wood?
Well, Jesus was crucified on the wood, and his mother used to come and knock on the wood to see if he's still alive. And we are not supposed to knock on them.
Very good. Now, that is, by the way, what you've just heard, thank you so much, is the Christian answer for knocking on wood. It has to do with the cross, Jesus on the cross. But why did Jewish people do it? Of course, the reason you gave is well known in the Christian world. Well, the reason that we have knock on wood as a way of kind of protecting us in some way comes from the days of the Spanish Inquisition. Jews during that period had to hide from the inquisitors. And they lived in homes. Many of these homes were made of wood. And they also had other places like community centers where they met. Now, if you went and you had to hide from the inquisitors and you came to one of those houses, you knocked on the door, but you had a special knocking to indicate that you're a Jewish person who is seeking refuge from the inquisitors. You knocked on wood, but a special kind of knocking. Bang, bang, bang. 3 on wood, they knew it was one of us. They'd open the door, they let you in. So knocking on wood was a way to protect you. So the knocking on wood for Jewish people started during the days of the Spanish Inquisition, when they had these special homes where you could hide. And the Christian world, of course, has the story of Jesus on the cross, knocking on wood. There's also another reason for the knocking on wood, and that is when people went into the forest, there was a belief that there were certain beings that lived in the trees, and you want to indicate to them that you're in their territory. You're in the forest, and you know that there were all kinds of, what do we call them? All kinds of Wildechayas, you may be right. All kinds of personalities, if you will, that inhabit these trees. And you want to let them know that you're in their area. So you knocked on the tree. You knocked on wood to say, hello, I'm in the forest. I'm in your area. I'm not going to destroy anything. You knock on wood. It's another one. How about some of your superstitions? You want to give some to me and we can analyze them? The red ribbon. The red ribbon is good. What's that? Kind of hard. That's the red ribbon. Yeah. The red ribbon was the way in which you were able to restrict the evil eye, the red ribbon. It's interesting that the Kabbalistic movement then adopted the red ribbon and other situations where they could use red to as a symbol of protection.
How about stepping over somebody that's lying down? You had to step back.
Yes, you don't step over somebody who's lying down. Well, because that's a symbol that that person is deceased. You don't do it. You don't step over someone who's lying down, because you're kind of indicating that that's what may be done when someone is deceased. You have to pick them up and move them so you could step over them, but you don't step over a live person. Never. That's a superstition. You never do. Anybody else have a superstition? Yes.
Cannot sit at a table in the corner of a table. Otherwise, you will not get married for 7 years.
That's good. Don't sit in the corner of the table. Won't get married for 7 years. Not bad.
Throwing salt over your shoulder when you're cooking.
Right. Never throw salt. Now, there are a number of reasons why you don't do that. First of all, you never throw salt over your shoulder. It's a bad symbol. A bad symbol. But you certainly never do it sitting in a restaurant. That could cause a real problem. Let me see what I have about the throwing the salt over the shoulder. Spilling the salt is often seen as a sign of bad luck. A common remedy is to throw a pinch of the spilled salt over your left shoulder to ward off any possibility of bad luck. But again, you never do it in a restaurant. You'll somebody in the back with a little bit of that salt. That's enough to start a real problem.
What about spitting 3 times?
What about spitting 3 times? What's that?
See a black cat, you have to spit.
Yeah, when you see a black cat, you have to spit 3 times. Also, don't let a black cat cross your path. It's a funny thing, and we still follow it. Spitting 3 times, poo, 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 which means you don't want what seems to be a negative situation. You don't want it to happen. In order to avoid it happening, you go poo, poo, poo. It shouldn't happen. I don't know. But people do that. They knock on wood, poo, 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 and they throw salt over their shoulders. How about breaking a mirror? Oh, breaking a mirror. As in other cultures, breaking a mirror is seen to bring 7 years of bad luck. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the best looking of them all? You know, Snow White. Now, this superstition can be found in Jewish tradition, as well as a longstanding belief that mirrors hold a reflection of the soul. Don't break a mirror. 7 years bad luck. What else? Anybody else have one you want to share with us?
Dropping a utensil on the floor. And then someone would say, oh, a man's coming or a woman's coming to visit.
That's good. That's good. You drop a utensil on the floor, you're going to get visitors. I never heard that before. That's good.
Eating herring at the new year because you'll get good luck.
That's one I never heard before. I got to put that on my list. Eat herring. Give me that one again. Eat herring when? For the new year, eat herring. Who said that to you? Your mother? Your bubby. She was right. First of all, herring was a staple in your grandmother's life. They always ate herring. There wasn't much as you can have, especially on times like Pesach and so on. They were always eating herring. So I can understand that particular one. That one is new to me. How about the Ayin Hara? Nobody mentioned that. The evil eye. The evil eye. And there are some people who have what they call the evil eye. And that's why you got to be especially careful when infants are around. Somebody comes over to the crib, a newborn baby, looks down at the baby. Oh, isn't that a wonderful child? Immediately, the mother of that child going to have a conniption. Immediately. Some way you have to cancel out Ayin Hara. So you say Kenai Hara, which means cancel out the evil eye. There also are people, by the way, who have what they call the good eye. The good eye. I have a good eye because my left eye I have glaucoma, so I see everything with my right eye. That's the good eye. What were you going to say?
I'm going to say that my aunt told me that
Who told you?
if anyone loses something, and any item is lost, you take a glass.
Take a what?
You take a glass.
A glass.
You say the word that you lost, watch, eyeglasses, whatever. You say it to the glass. You turn that glass upside down and you will find it eventually. And I have done that and it has worked many times, enough times that I believe it.
Unbelievable. If you lose something, take a glass, turn it upside down, and eventually you're going to find what you lost. Beautiful. I'm hearing superstitions today I never heard of before. What do you got?
How about
What?
How about covering the mirrors during Shiva?
Well, covering mirrors during Shiva is a different situation. That's done. That's not superstition.
No, there's a
Situation. That's because one should not adorn oneself during the time when one is in mourning.
How
To
about
avoid adorning oneself, you cover the mirrors so you won't look in, and say, oh, gee, got to put on lipstick. I got to take a shave.
Yeah,
So,
but the Andoramaisa
under my sir.
is
Yes.
not for the sake of violating
Adornment.
the laws of humility, but rather that the mirrors are covered so that the spirits that remain in the house that didn't go to the cemetery, whatever spirits are in the house, have only one way to come into you, and that is through a mirror, because a mirror is a gateway into the next dimension. So there are those who believe that the mirrors are not covered so that they don't look in there and put on makeup before the people arrive for the dinner, but rather that no one in the house is a victim of a spirit looking for a body that they can inhabit under these intense emotional circumstances.
Good. Good. I didn't understand it, but it's good. It's good.
I have one.
It's good. So we're covering the mirrors because we're worried about the spirits that may be. That's all right. It's good. Good. Anybody else have
I
Have
have
a-
one, Rabbi, one moment.
another one from over here?
Yes.
This one is loaded with all kinds of
Well,
superstitions.
Coming from Israel, so, over there, it's compromises.
A lot of Baba mices.
If you leave the house,
What?
you leave the house
Leave the house.
and you lock the door and suddenly you remember that you forgot something
Good.
and you cannot go back. Because if you forgot something new, you have to go back to the house and sit down on a chair for a few minutes and then you can leave the house. Weiß nicht warum.
Good. Good. The world is loaded with superstitions. I didn't know we have. That's not bad. That's not bad. Yes.
So my mother always said,
Yes.
do not place your bed with the foot of the bed facing the doorway.
Absolutely. That's a well-known.
Take out the bodies.
That's a well-known tradition. Yes, a well-known tradition. Facing the door. Absolutely. That's well-known. Anybody else?
My mother-in-law had a million superstitions. So she had, if you sneezed on something, it was the truth. If your nose itched, you were going to have a fight.
If
And
your nose itches, you're going to have a fight.
Yeah, and if your palm itched, you were going to get money.
If your palm itches, you're going to get money. Good. But see, those are beliefs. I don't know if they're really superstitious activities. They're more beliefs. If your palm itches, okay, they're good. Anybody else? Anybody else? We talked about spilling salt. How about opening an umbrella in a house, which you never do? Why do we not open an umbrella in a house? What's that? Why? There's no place. That happens to be, by the way, the reason. You don't open an umbrella in a home because it uses up space, which should not be utilized in the home. You open an umbrella, it uses up space. An umbrella is for outside, not inside. How about, yes, you were going to say one? Let's hear it. How about never put a hat on a bed? How many of you heard about that one? Never put a hat on a bed. That's a well-known one. Talked about spilling salt. Well, never put a hat on a bed. While we're not certain that this is from Jewish origin, it seems the superstition comes from a time when people believed that evil spirits lived in your hair. Evil spirits lived in your hair. That was one. Also, another reason for never putting a hat on a bed is because there was a time when people's hair was not really clean. The problem of lice, particularly among immigrants. Known belief. Is it a superstitious belief? I'm not sure, but that's a well-known belief. Don't order the baby clothes until the baby has arrived. Don't tempt fate. So on. We understand that. Anybody else have? Oh, by the way, don't reveal the name of the child. Don't reveal the name of the child before the child is born. It's a well-known tradition. So
I think also don't reveal the sex of the child before they're born.
What's that?
I said, don't reveal the sex of the child.
Don't
before
reveal the sex of the child. Now they know, but don't reveal it to the family. But of course, the one who's carrying the child can certainly know. So there are many superstitions that are still around. Let's see, some here will result, breaking a mirror will result in 7 years of bad luck. Crossing silverware on the table indicates there's going to be an argument before they leave that table. Don't cross silverware on a table. There's going to be an argument between somebody. Passing each other the salt hand to hand. What does that do? Without putting it down on the table means that there's going to be a fight between two people who are sitting at that table. In other words, don't pass the salt shaker. Don't pass it hand to hand. Put it down and then let the other person pick it up. Otherwise, there's going to be an argument at the table. That explains a lot at my table. Yes, don't give someone a knife. Right. Same thing as passing the salt. Don't hand somebody a knife. Put it down. Let them pick it up themselves. Don't hand somebody a knife. What else? Walking under a ladder, we spoke about. Oh, by the way, there's also a superstition about shaking hands. When you're in a group of people and you're going to shake hands, do not stand there while you're waiting to shake hands by crossing your hands like this, because it's a sign of impatience. It's a sign of anger. So if you're with a group, never cross your arms, never. Leave them by your side until it's your chance to shake hands. Not bad, but it's an old superstition. Let's see what else we've got. Got a whole bunch here that's enough to kill your horse, I'd say. If you're going to eat an olive, you have to have at least two. One olive alone is a bad sign. Never put shoes on a dresser, because they're shoes. You don't put shoes on a dresser. Don't put shoes on a dresser or a table. It's a sign of bad luck. They're dirty. Now, how about some of the customs when somebody moves into a new house or a new apartment? What do? Well, there are all kinds of traditions. One is you must, when you move into a new home or a new apartment, you have to make sure to have a broom, salt, sugar, a loaf of bread, and of course, make sure the mezuzah is on the door. What else? How about some of the superstitions concerning taking a trip? Somebody's going on a journey. What do? Kiss the mezuzah, leaving, of course. What else? What do you do if somebody's going on a trip to make sure they're going to get there? You give them tzedakah to deliver wherever they're going to be. They give charity at the other end. And that ensures that the trip will be a successful trip. So, my friends, when it comes to Jewish superstitions, these are just the tip of the iceberg. What other superstitions do you know and you even hold? and you actually fulfill? Or do you think these are all just Bubba They have no impact. Old wives' tales that no longer hold a place in our Jewish tradition. So while I don't need to become any more superstitious than I am, God forbid. I know that God willing, there are some superstitions I'm going to follow just in case. I don't want to take a chance. Not done. After all, it doesn't hurt. Thank you so much. That's it. The schmooze is over. Thank you so much. Have a great day. It makes a lot of sense.
We have some refreshments over here on the back.
Thank
The
you very
left,
much. Thank you very much.
Coffee, hot
Thank you.
water, couple of drinks. Enjoy yourself. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes, yes. By the way, it's an old tradition. Hey, hi, pal. Good to see you.